Welcome to week 5 of our series called Thessalonians. Are you still there? This past week, we took a break and we heard from Pastor Arlie. He talked about heaven and what it might be like and posed the question, are you going to be there? Well, this week, Paul ends his letter to the Thessalonian church in chapter 5, and he talks about this second coming. But he not only warns us of how this second coming is going to be, he also says, in the meantime, you need to be living this way. It's this forward-thinking living that affects our actions right now. The bottom line this week is forward thinking will result in holy living. You know, I like to tell others and myself that I love working out. And I do love working out. I do make it a priority in my week. And there's a study that came out that when you're lifting weights, whatever lift it may be, maybe curls, maybe the overhead press, and maybe lunges or squats to work your legs. But when you're doing a workout, you need to have your mind set on the exact muscle group that you want to work. So if I'm doing curls, mentally, I'm not thinking about anything else but my bicep flexing. And what that does, that thought process actually translates into the motion where you will then work harder that muscle that you focus in on. And I love how Paul ends this. He says, listen, Christ is going to return and it's going to be unexpectedly. He starts off by saying it's going to be like a thief in the night. Jesus is going to come and it's going to be unplanned, unexpected. Nobody knows when Jesus is returning. In fact, scripture tells us not even Jesus knows. There's just going to be a day where God's going to say, hey son, go ahead and go get your church. We don't know when that's going to be. If you ever hear a prediction about when Jesus is going to return, he won't be returning at that time. It's pretty much guaranteed. Jesus told us that himself. So we don't need to worry about how it's exactly going to happen. We just know it's going to be unexpected and we need to be prepared because we don't want to be caught sleeping. We want to be watchful. We want to be self-controlled, and we want to exude a lifestyle of faith, hope, and love. And Paul then goes into this behavior while you're here, as you're forward thinking, and it's affecting the holy living. We need to treat each other right. We need to treat our pastors right. Yep. He gets in there and says, you need to respect the ministers and what the ministers do. And also your behavior towards each other needs to be one where you need to have peace with your brothers and sisters, the Christians. You need to warn the troublemakers, those in the church who just like to stew up trouble. It's our job to warn them of, hey, knock it off. You're not bringing glory to the kingdom. And then we need to encourage the downtrodden too and be genuine caregivers for each other as we wait and we long for that second coming of Jesus. We need to give thanks. And the two shortest verses in the Bible are mashed together here word-wise. It's pray continually and rejoice always. 2-word verses. And so, there's got to be some emphasis there that we need to rejoice because we're looking forward to Christ's return. And because of that and the hope that we have in the heaven that we have, like we talked about last week with Pastor Arlie, we can always be joyful. How to do that? We need to always be in prayer. We need to pray continually. And what a privilege that is that Jesus gave us, that during our day we can just stop and pray with him. But it's just a lifestyle to always be praying. And we also need to use Christ as a cornerstone, how we test things. Anything that happens in our life, what does scripture say about it? What does Jesus say about it? And the result of this holy living, because we're forward thinking, is then this presence of God that brings incredible peace, that sets apart his people to become blameless, that when Jesus Christ comes, his church will be blameless and we will be able to join him in this eternity called heaven. So as we together as a church think forward to Christ's coming, what are we doing now to prepare ourselves, our world, our communities, our families, so that that day is a joyful day and not a destruction of a day for those who don't know Jesus? So what are you doing in your world? Are you being watchful? Are you being sober? Are you being self-controlled? Are you throwing out love and grace and mercy to this world? Because we need to prepare ourselves and we need to prepare this world. Christ will come again. It's a guarantee. We just need to be ready, and we need to be living holy lives. God bless you.